It's very late tonight, y'all. Very late. We are burning the midnight oil, but it just can't be helped. So much is coming out. I'm telling you, so much. Um, so today is 1,684 days since Richard was premeditatedly, treasonously, brutally murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty for reporting the kid trafficking, the gun trafficking, the criminal trafficking, the fentanyl, the meth. Um, it's huge business, and El Paso is the epicenter, is ground zero for trafficking. It is the front door to the United States for all of this trafficking. Um, it's billions and billions of dollars, and from the very beginning, um, make sure that I'm on. Make sure that you can hear me. So much is coming out. I'm telling you so. Yeah. Okay, so I see it all, and hopefully you can catch up when you have time, because I know it's almost 1 o'clock here in the morning. But it just can't be helped. And I'm glad that you can hear, because the support that we're getting is overwhelming right now. And the reason why I want to explain a little bit about El Paso and why it is the epicenter. I don't think anyone um, debates that fact that El Paso is the ground zero for criminal trafficking. You can see that with every step that President Trump has taken since January 20th, publicly um, declaring the Sinaloa cartel as a terrible organization, the T word, right? The T word, the terrible organization that changes the law, that changes the fact that anyone doing business with the Sinaloa cartel is aiding and abetting a terrible organization, which is a huge federal crime, right? So I would say that that's treasonous. That's treasonous. So that means that any law enforcement, any military associate, or anyone in the military, any contractor for the military, anyone in the prosecutor's office, the DA's office, any um, I wonder if lawyers count in all of this, right? Do lawyers count in all of this? If they are aiding and abetting, doing business with a terrible organization member, this changes everything. So, all of these migrant shelters, they're closing down right now because you can't do business with a terrible organization, right? The Sinaloa cartel, um, and it is really interesting that General Kelly, who was DHS, right, big general in the military, right after he started getting pretty upset about closing down that border, right? Um, and he really targeted President Trump. It's when you go and look at it and see everything, and you have to remember that he has the media on his side, and the media is complicit to the criminal trafficking. Um, Terrible organization. Absolutely, they are. This is, see, the first thing that you have to understand in all of this, that I would say, is to absolutely understand the amount of money that's involved in this. and the amount of money that provides the political power, and also, yeah, I would say the political power to infiltrate and also bribe people and to get control over the judicial system, and even to weaponize the judicial system, to even weaponize the law enforcement system, the agencies, absolutely. And we know that the FBI ha- had been. Uh, I still think that they have a lot of work to do, because I haven't seen Eddie Nieto being arrested yet, right? And he absolutely needs to be arrested. Um, in my estimation, my opinion. So, and I'm sure that there is a lot going on behind the scenes, but that kind of money, billions and billions of dollars, buys you bribes at the Santa Teresa International Jetport, buys you the planes, right? Buys you the trucks, buys you the bribery of truck drivers, buys you warehouses, buys you bribes for storage units, provides you with bribes um, anywhere you look, you can bribe people, politics, and then even weaponize, because since you are buying them out, right? They work for you then. They don't work for the people anymore. This is why it's so treasonous. This is why it's such a national security threat, because our country is by the people, for the people, of the people, right? And when you have a terrible organization coming in with a multi-billion dollar business that is taking away your power, and placing it in their hands, then you can understand why justice is so upside down. I would say upside down. Why there you actually could see the weaponization of our justice system. You could absolutely see how it was being used against people that were not happy with what the terrible organization was doing to their children, to their schools, to their military, to their jobs, to everything, right? And to the culture. They weren't happy. And those that were brave enough to stand up to it, to call it out, were targeted and retaliated against, um, uh, very swiftly. And I think the biggest example of that, and I don't even think he meant to do it, I think he just was a really nice and a very honorable soldier, and that was Glennon Oakley Jr. I think he knew that he was doing the right thing. It wasn't to be a hero or anything, it was just the right thing. He didn't even consider himself a hero. And at the Walmart mass shooting in the mall, where he heard shots fired in the mall, where he saw a group of law enforcement, so he said, or mall cops, or all dressed in black with M4s, military grade weapons, um, in the mall where shots were fired. Um, he just said what he saw, and he was very swiftly retaliated against, because that was not the narrative for the Walmart mass shooting. The narrative would be the Pat C, right? The Pat C narrative of the false claim of racism, the false claim of white supremacy, because it was a political narrative to target falsely allege and blame President Trump. It was a target to harm President Trump. That's what it was. The Walmart mass shooting. Why? Because he was the authority. He was the chief law enforcement officer of the land. In 2019, he was the president of the United States. And many people don't know this, but when you're the president of the United States, you're also you're the commander in chief. People know that about the military. You're the commander in chief, but you're also the chief law enforcer of the United States. And he was auditing, he was investigating um, Fort Bliss 100% because we were told that. We were told by Brigadier General David Stewart. We were told by CID agent Marlon Soto. We were told by a soldier in Richard's unit. We were told um, by others that, and it's absolutely that they were investigating this weapon smuggling, that they were the ammunition smuggling, and that the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. And Marlon Soto was like, no, they were all over Fort Bliss. This is absolutely an investigation and an audit by the chief law enforcement officer of the United States, which at the time was President Donald Trump. And that happened because of Richard Halliday's, our son's, whistleblowing our whistleblowing reports. Now, um, that wasn't reported in the news, was it? Because the legacy media is in big trouble. Their ratings are in big trouble. The young people don't go. There's a big shift. It's a big shift in how we get our news, and so the legacy media are just not making the money that they once did, but they still have these high salaries and uh, these bills from when they did make big money. But they need to change, right? And we hear that they are changing right now, but they are absolutely complicit because all the evidence shows that they're complicit. Look at what we have handed them. Our team has handed them. We have handed them huge, huge stories, and they rather cover the kitty cat stuck in the tree. They rather cover the best enchilada in El Paso, instead of, and that's kind of fun to know. That's kind of fun and interesting to know. But we're talking about real, true investigative journalism exposing, uh, real treason, real constitutional violations in El Paso, the um, the right to vote of El Pasoans, the cartel trafficking infiltration into the agencies, the targeting of whistleblowers, the murder of a U.S. Army soldier by CID, complicity, right? Complicity, tampering, and that. So these are huge, huge stories. And, how can that be? Well, because El Paso is the ground zero for criminal trafficking, right? Billions of dollars. And those billions of dollars go to even false witnesses, false stories, false witnesses, um, false documentation, lots of forgery. And that's why the people the suspects in this case have, a long history of tampering and forgery of documents, and for benefits, for cashing in on cashing illegally on American benefits. And so, you don't have to wonder why, we're $37 trillion in debt when you have um, many, many, I would say decades of major fraud. And the fraud just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And so I think people are sick of it. And today we received, well, we've had some documents that have absolutely been very important in exposing Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who has the same residence as Danae Katzen, who absolutely targeted us. And also, Rosa Maria Valdez's family was in possession, probably still is, of Richard's credit cards after he was murdered. And, and also, and we gave this all to the media, how Richard's case is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, and through even cars and license plate numbers and addresses. And I mean, we gave them all of the, I wouldn't say all of it, but enough hard evidence from what we have that they could absolutely investigate further. They didn't have to depend on us, but they could discover that Richard's case, the unit that he was in, it has ties to the Sinaloa cartel that is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case. And Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia plays a huge role in that. And and with Justin Underwood, who is trying to paint himself, rebrand himself as MAGA, as being Trump friendly. He absolutely is up to no good. He's absolutely up to no good, Justin Underwood, the attorney, and also the attorney Felix Valenzuela, the Mormon attorney. The common denominator in Richard's case is uh, that the suspects belong to the Mormon congregation, that the suspects are cashing in on 100% veterans disability benefits, that the um, suspects are connected to the Sinaloa cartel. That is the common denominator. It's big, and it explains how they could target Richard, retaliate against him through the law enforcement and through UCMJ, um, also through the prosecutor's office, also through the court system, Penny Hamilton, fraud, a total fraud, collecting illegally on benefits. She's a fraud. And, so there's so much of this fraud, and we have it documented and we filed it. And today, this, this apostille document that I have in front of me, it's, it seems kind of generic when you look at it. You just don't, okay, whatever. It's a government um, document. But the apostille was, and I'm still learning about it. So if you know about it, thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you, Martha. So late. Thank you, Danielle. This apostille that we have was from Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. She and um, Alexander Hoffman. So Alexander Gerhard Hoffman wrote, he was shot in the head right at the entrance of the Walmart on August 3rd, 2019. In 2001, they had a very difficult divorce. She claimed really terrible things, and she got everything. She got everything. Uh, no love there. Okay, I'm just saying that. No, no love lost. No love there. A very, very, very difficult divorce. Um, when Alexander Hoffman was shot on, and also we have other evidence about Alexander Hoffman and what he was doing in Mexico, how he was connected to uh, this whole trafficking thing, um, this whole Walmart thing, how they were all connected. Yeah, it's very it's so convoluted, but when you dig in, you find it, and some, it takes a while, but you find it. And so when he was shot, um, and in the, and his death certificate is very, we're still going over it. But I can tell you this, it does say that he was divorced and never married again. Okay, I can tell you that. I can tell you there's a lot of anomalies with his death certificate. Um, and we're still going over that. But the big thing is Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia um, targeted us, targeted Richard's case, and targeted. I mean, she's been in on this and a false witness. Okay. So definitely a false witness, and such a good false witness, I mean, she's a false witness over and over and over again. I mean, this is like this is her profession, is to be um to pull off scams, to be a false witness, to be a crisis actor. Uh, we have an article from her that, she's a total crisis actor. And I will be sharing that with you. It's just so late, 1 o'clock in the morning. And this apostille is really a smoking gun. It really is a smoking gun, because what the hell? That's the only way I can say it, and I try not to, but what the hell is Texas doing certifying a German birth certificate, right? I, a German birth certificate has to be certified by Germany, by the German consulate. Am I wrong on that? Someone, please tell me if I'm wrong on that. But this is to us, the what is she keeping a secret? What is she? It's so much fraud. It's absolute fraud. So we ran it, and it just tells us that we're right. Uh, all of our information tells us we're right. This is fraud. This is not something that, Texas Mike could have certified the death certificate. That would make sense since he died in Texas, right? But not the German birth certificate, because he's German, right? And he's German, and he was brought over with the Luftwaffe. He was in the Luftwaffe. Of course, the Germans were on Fort Bliss. Um, but this and then she's certifying that she was, I guess it's called in Mexico, a concubine, that she's a concubine, that she was common law married to him. Okay. And she did this after he was killed. Okay. She did this after he was killed because of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. And she manipulated the paperwork. She manipulated, her and her family manipulated even recordings, audio recording. I think she is in real danger of going to prison too. She's in real danger of going to prison too. I don't think a fine can cover what she did, right? I don't think so. I think it's bad. And the apostille is, just to certify, and I don't even think she could have used it to take back over to Mexico to claim that she was common law married or whatever. It's all really stinky. I don't know how else to say it. There's just so much fraud. And, her family being Danae Katzen and Jonathan Ambrose, and they're just so engaged in fraud, right? Um, Theft, fraud, waste, and theft. Fraud, waste, and theft. So, an abuse of the system, of course. So this is really, if it, every day, Richard's case keeps on giving, doesn't it? I think Richard's case is the key to breaking this whole criminal trafficking because it just keeps on giving every day, exposing more and more fraud. And this El Paso Community Foundation um, Victims Fund that is, not transparent, like not transparent, and banking with Westar Bank, which is, you know, these are the biggest contributors to Veronica Escobar, right? Is, and Beto O'Rourke. This is very political. And Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia having a history with them, and Danae Katzen having a history with Beto O'Rourke, with the political part of this for Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia to be holding press conferences in Mexico right after her husband had, and I shouldn't even say it's her husband, it's not her husband, right? But after Alexander had been brutally murdered, and all the fraud around his murder, you would think that she would want to focus on that because there is a lot of crime surrounding his murder and the motives and the death certificate. The death certificate is it's so weird, y'all. It's so weird. But it what I can absolutely say right now with 100% clarity is that it does say that he was divorced and never married again. So it did not say, and maybe his children can clarify this, because they never went to court, which they could have went to court, um, but they never. She did it through she got her $100,000 of victims funds through claiming that she was common law. Okay. Now he's German, and I have a huge tie to Germany, and I understand German pensions and everything. They're something that you want, right? They are absolutely something that you want. Um, so, this is absolutely for financial gain. This is for collecting illegally on benefits that don't belong to you. And it's not just her. Um, eh, there's other individuals involved in this. Um, so it is really a smoking gun, and we're trying to understand what in the world did Texas do here? What did Texas do? Right? Because all the information that we're getting, um, And even on the top of the apostille, oh, if you look at it, and I posted it on Facebook and I'll post it other places. It says you can't really take it out of Texas, um, but you have to have that in order to get the common law. I'm trying to understand this. All I know is it absolutely proves fraud. It absolutely proves that there is fraud, because of the other documents that accompany this. And, Germany doesn't take kindly on uh, just dismissing their laws or their rights, um, and fraud committed on Germany. Germany doesn't like fraud committed on Germany, okay? um, they're very stamp happy. They want all that, you have to have lots of different stamps to make it legal. Um, so to have a constant fraud, and this is where Veronica Escobar has to be held accountable too, because the absolute out of control tampering with documents, Bill Hicks, Jane Nelson, the Secretary of State of Texas, uh, um, James Montoya, the county clerk's office, a 2028 stamp. What the heck is that? A 2028 stamp? Um, the I would say Vinton, Vinton, they don't even use stamps, right? They don't even want to do a timestamp. They're just, I don't know. The tampering of documents by the CID, by, um, uh, of course, the Leilani Hart. I would say Dallas Hart as platoon leader. I would say the tampering by David Parks. I would say by Major General Clem Coward. I would say um, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court. I would say the FBI, the leaking of, um, but all of, and I would, and then the media complicit with it. So that's brings back, it goes full circle. Why would they be so complicit with this criminal activity, with the tampering, with the altering of files? Because not only do they tamper with creating crisis actors and false um, fake witnesses, false stories, false narratives, hacking in, because absolutely, in order to tamper with the files, you have to go to different computers. You don't want to use your own. You don't want to leave a trail. We have witness testimony to that. That going to other people's computers, um, finding a way to tamper without leaving a trail. So that's where hackers come in. And Michael Maiello being at the DA's office, being at the FBI's office, being working with Walmart security. We know that CCTV footage has been tampered with. Lots of things have been deleted or whitewashed, but it's that's why we file with so many different agencies, so many different letters. Yeah, no birth certificate has to be certified from the birth country. No, a birth certificate has to be certified from a birth country. Correct. Why was Texas certifying a German birth certificate? Right? It's weird. That's manufacturing government documents, in my opinion. Yes. That's illegal, in my opinion. Yes. Very. Thank you so much, Danielle, for forgetting it, because absolutely, that's exactly what we thought. Um, we're like, this is totally fraud, and is someone going to care? Is someone going to care? Because you have constant fraud, constant tampering of timestamps, constant meddling with government documents. Um, Look, our criminal complaint, because clearly, and there is no allegation here, even though we have to say it's an allegation, but clearly it is confirmed that Jane Nelson, the Secretary of State, tampered with documents, right? Tampered with timestamps. There's, and so here we have another Secretary of State on this document. I mean, that's huge. That is so big. And, this is from a Republican governor's administration. Yet, Veronica Escobar is silent. She was silent with Bill Hicks. He was totally a usurper. And, all the documents, it wasn't hard to figure out, right? You just do the open records, you see the dates, and you know what the Texas Constitution says, and the dates aren't right, and you see the emails between him and Jane Nelson, and making a call to the Secretary of State. We made videos on it. I said it for I don't know how long. How long was I preaching on that? And we weren't just preaching on it, we were documenting it, and we were filing it. We were filing it. We filed it with the SB4. That was, learning how to do a amicus brief. I'm going to get it a law degree, at least a what do you call it, a paralegal degree out of this. Um, it's just absolutely fraud all the way around. And what you see is that it is not about Republican or Democrat. It is about the Sinaloa cartel having control over Fort Bliss, the front door of our country, to openly, with impunity, traffic into this country. Traffic meth, traffic all kinds of substances, including the fentanyl, traffic humans, and smuggle with the weapons and the bullets. And this is the news that we got yesterday, and we're getting such groundbreaking news every day. And I need to keep talking, right? Because people need to hear that Veronica Escobar and all her uh, attacks on President Trump, and not sitting through um, his speech to Congress, which that is her duty. Her constituents are both Democrat and Republicans. It's her duty as a representative to sit through those speeches. Republicans had to do it with Joe Biden, with Clinton, with what you there has to be an honoring of your duty, your political duty. And she got up and walked out of there. She didn't have to like what he said, but she had to sit through it. They get paid all kinds of money. They get into Congress, they become multimillionaires. She could at least sit through the speech to Congress. That means to her, to the people of the United States. And, she didn't do that. But yet she goes and meets with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. That was so disrespectful, um, because Ukraine would be already in Russia's hands if it wasn't for the United States. And it's like, y- you're a beggar. You're a beggar, and there's a humility that beggars need to have. And yet, even after that, even after that, Veronica Escobar, who can't sit in a meeting of her own president, will go and meet with Zelensky, a foreign leader that is in opposition, and meeting with him in opposition to President Trump. I think that is huge. And then when you have this kind of money, you're talking about $100,000 for Rosa Maria Valdez from the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. You would think that Veronica Escobar would want to make sure that the fund transfers are open to the public, are transparent, and that they go truly to the victims. And Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia is not a legal victim. Okay? She's not a legal spouse of Alexander Hoffman. And this is what this document shows: is the fraud, the extent of the fraud um, that was perpetrated in order to collect on his death, on his death. And the dates are there. If she wanted a common law marriage, they weren't even, there's no evidence because of addresses and everything and him going back to Germany and all of that. There's no evidence at all that they had a common law marriage. And so the fraud um, is huge. Matter of fact, there's evidence of the contention of, taking everything from him. Um, that doesn't sound like someone that wants to reunite with him, that's living with him, that wants to be married to him again or anything like that, right? So, and we just see that with Danae being 4 times on the 10 most wanted, and all of who we talked to several, 7 people, um, of all the con jobs, and then, before everything was taken down, you notice Michael Mayella will take his stuff down, Jules Tuganon Chan will take his stuff down, Dallas Hart will take his stuff down, and they'll replace it with this puff piece, like with Texas Hart. That's kind of like a puff piece that's coming out right now. I don't know what's going on with that. Um, that it's it is. I think we're being very effective. We're being very effective, and the multiple billions of dollars in this business. Um, in order for someone to be effective, it could only be the hand of God, and we're being effective. I think the sand is crying out for the victims. Um, Maybe it's the blood in the sand that's crying out to God. Um, and for us to be this effective, for us to be in possession and be of such evidence and be willing to document it and to file it with authorities and with the media, um, it's the hand of God, right? It's the hand of God. And so this is a divine justice. That's what this is. Um, the The children, um, who knows what all of those weapons, and I think I forgot to say it. 50% of all the weapons going to Ukraine were funneled to Mexico to the cartels. That's been confirmed. That's been confirmed. Think about that. And who are we now? Really, is it kinetic already? Is it kinetic already? So we'll be defending ourselves, our country, against our own weapons, our own bullets. It's crazy, isn't it? I think this is Richard Halliday's case is the key because it's only by the hand of God that this has happened. And to get the documents that we received again today, including this apostille and the death certificate. Look, the death certificate. Um, something is very wrong with that. It is very wrong, and it shouldn't be. It should be of the highest standard. But remember, I told you, the chief medical examiner came into that job um, because of Veronica Escobar when she was county judge, and she approved him being placed as a chief medical examiner, violating the Constitution because the Texas Constitution, when it's a judicial officer like that position, has to be an American citizen. And not only was he not American citizen, he was not qualified, and he violated his visa. He violated his visa. And she continued paying for him. And he is connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. He is connected to Bliss Avenue. And he's in a, I guess, in a cushier spot. I mean, making like $450,000 a year. But these are fraudsters, and they are absolutely connected to the Sinaloa cartel. And they were absolutely not only targeting us here, I mean, in the United States, but also in Mexico. And, it's very clear that, you know, people in Texas are sick and tired of it. And God has moved them to provide information to us. And we're very, very grateful for that because, you know, we knew things were sketchy with Danae. Um, and, this all confirms it's more confirmation. But it's so unbelievable. And the only thing I can say is that you better believe it because this is billions and billions of dollars. And President Trump absolutely, from day one, has had his eyes on El Paso, Texas. El Paso, Texas. Okay, they might be talking about New York. They might be talking about Chicago. They might be talking about, um, Tijuana, well, San Diego with Tijuana and that. Um, but where did General Kelly go to work for? He went to work for the governor of Chihuahua. Okay. The governor of Chihuahua. you know, this is the epicenter. This is ground zero for the trafficking, for the big bucks, for the big bucks, and people that want to sell out this country. And no matter what you think about General Kelly, what he did was sell out the country. He absolutely did. And the generals in Richard's case, and he was one of the generals in Richard's case, right? Because he was DHS, uh, and in charge of putting together these migrant camps. Ugh, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So they are. Um, a lot of people got dirty because the money's too good. And when you're in debt, you can be, the college debt is so bad, the credit card debt, the credit card interest rates are so high, the desperation of it. And I will tell you that a lot of the suspects in Richard's case have declared bankruptcy. A lot of them have declared bankruptcy more than once. So they don't learn. They don't learn. And, um, they're all about um, betraying their country, uh, and they don't realize how dangerous it is because when people are willing to do this and they have control over the front door of our country, then other more devious infiltrations can come in. And we're seeing that, aren't we? We're seeing that. So Richard, absolutely, we're being vindicated every day. And our goal is to get accountability. And I don't know how long that's going to take, y'all. I feel like, it's all in God's hands. And we want Richard's remains. And of course, we have um, our our legal avenues that we can take. Um, we keep really praying about that. Um, when the time will be right. We just wanted to have it um, irrefutable, irrefutable evidence because we know that the legal system is weaponized, is crooked. Um, and, we watch President Trump and all of his cases, and we're just like in horror, right? In horror, um, how they would tamper and manipulate. And then the media didn't have his back. They weren't fair at all. They weren't fair. And, you don't, not that they should be on his side, but they could be fair, and they weren't fair at all. Um, so, and we know that the media has not been fair to Richard, which is very indicative of that we're right, because they would be fair if if anything they said or would want to say would be a little bit accurate, but because he was reporting on the criminal trafficking, because he was such a threat to the trafficking activity and those, I think at the highest levels, I'm talking about, um, it is interesting that El Paso Matters was kind of like made to go after Richard. I don't know. It seems like it. Seems like it. Um, so who's behind that, right? Who's behind that? And I'm not talking about Bob Moore. So it's all, you know, I think we've come a long way since 2020, 2021. And we absolutely understand that there is, I mean, how can you say a deep state, right? A deep state, a cartel enterprise. And, at the beginning, when I would say something is really wrong, it's how could that be? Now it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, they have the FBI. Oh my gosh, they had the CID. Oh my gosh, they have our dirty generals. And there's not all generals are dirty, but in this case, they're pretty dirty. They're pretty dirty. And the justice system and all that, and to find out about Judge Guadarrama and Michael Mayella and all of them and Patrick Crucia's case, you just see that. And I think one of the hardest letters was to this complaint against the Secretary of State, Jay Nelson, because that's just heartbreaking. Because it's her job to make sure those seals, those timestamps are accurate for the people of Texas. It's totally criminal. If justice is served, she could minimum 20 years in prison. I think that was just heartbreaking for us. Um, a lot of cover up going on. And that means that they are absolutely okay with people, with a young whistleblower soldier being brutally murdered. That's what that means. And we're not okay with that. We're not okay. So thank you so much for coming on, and we will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for your comments, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And please share all of this. It's really important for people to get this information. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye bye.